This video was confirmed by the... I personally do not believe that science and religion are mutually exclusive. In this episode of Science is Religion, A Closer Look, we're going to close out the series by taking a look at scientific dogma and its biggest consequence, cognitive dissonance. But first, let's do a quick recap of the journey so far. This journey began with a video I did called Has Science Become the Religion of the 21st Century?, which covered 7 major criteria of modern religions and how science seems to fit all of them. But I didn't go into enough detail, which led to this follow-up series. And in part 1 of that series, called a Drive Down Memory Lane, I talked about how my personal experiences with science, religion, and the paranormal led me to make that first video and come to the conclusion that I did, which led to last time, part 2, called On the Off-Ramp to Religionville, which covered the core mythologies of science and religion by comparing them in general and specific ways. Okay, now, join me as we talk about scientific dogmas and cognitive dissonance. Okay, so in the original video, dogma came in as number 3 on the list of criteria for what makes a religion a religion. So, what is a dogma? Well, according to Oxford Languages, a dogma is a principle or set of principles laid down by an authority figure as incontrovertibly true. Now, in the original video, Has Science Become the Religion of the 21st Century?, I listed 5 of them. The universe is almost 14 billion years old. No 2 people have the same fingerprints. Fossils and DNA prove evolution is real. Nothing can travel faster than the speed of light. Experimental results are worthless without repeatability. Well, as I was doing research, I came across, for this video, this follow-up video, I came across the work of Dr. Rupert Sheldrake, who wrote a book called The Science Delusion, in which he listed 10 such dogmas. Now, his are a little more general, and his purpose is a little different than mine. He's saying that these dogmatic views hold back science, and he's trying to get science to be a little more scientific, whereas I'm out and out comparing it to a religion. But in Dr. Sheldrake's dogmas are a little more general than the ones I listed, but they nonetheless seem to be true. And Dr. Sheldrake is a very controversial figure. His work has since been attacked by other scientists, but the debate continues, and he did do a TED Talk on this that I will link to in the video description. It's a worthy read. But these are the 10 dogmas that Dr. Sheldrake listed. 1. Nature is mechanic. All creatures and systems of nature are robots made to follow a given genetic program. 2. Matter is unconscious. Plants, stars, animals, and elements are material things that are and cannot have a consciousness of themselves. 3. The laws of nature are fixed. At the moment of the Big Bang, all necessary constants until the end of time were established. The habits of nature do not evolve. 4. The amount of nature and energy in the universe is always the same. 5. Nature has no purpose. There is no design in nature in terms of intention, and the process of evolution is mechanic. 6. Biological heritage. The plans to produce a living being are composed within the physical matter lodged in their genes. 7. Memory is kept in the brain as material prints. Memory is made of proteins and nerve endings organized as a drawer within itself. 8. Mind is in the head. The mind has a physical connection with the head and the brain, relegating intellectual subordination on the rest of the body. 9. Phenomena like telepathy are impossible. Thoughts have no effects in the world because of number 8 on the list. The mind is in the head. And 10. Only mechanical medicines work. It is merely by chance or placebo effects that traditional healing practices or natural remedies have any effect on people's health. Okay, now if you have been watching this series, especially part 2, you'll probably notice some contradictions with things we've already talked about. And this is important because it plays into our next subject, cognitive dissonance, which we are going to discuss right now. In psychology, cognitive dissonance is the psychological tension that we experience when we try to reckon with two or more opposing or conflicting pieces of information, particularly when they challenge our personal behaviors or our worldviews. Now, according to the psychologists, when we feel this tension, we'll try to deal with it in one of several ways. Some will adapt their thinking to the new piece of information, change their minds. But a lot of people cannot do this. They're stuck in they've got it stuck in their brains and they're not going to change it. So they will pick another way to deal with it. And another one of those ways is to either change the new piece of information around so that it fits with their worldview, or it's something that they find it easier to argue with. And if that doesn't work, they will try to discredit the new piece of information so that they can continue thinking what they think without feeling that stress. Or, finally, they will either avoid it completely or else only seek out information that confirms their beliefs. Now, this is called confirmation bias. And let me tell you right now that cognitive dissonance is not exclusive to the things that we have been talking about through the course of this video. But since, as we've discussed already, dogmas are beliefs that are held to be incontrovertibly true, then that means that they form worldviews. And therefore, cognitive dissonance is a natural outgrowth of that. And we have all seen it. Especially when, but not exclusively, when dealing with religious people. Now, I brought up an example of it in a drive down memory lane when I was talking about the gentleman who was in my biology class in college who got up and walked out when evolution was discussed. Now, another one, then this is dealing with evolution again. This is something that probably a lot of you have experienced because I know I have. If you discuss evolution with a young earth creationist and you bring up fossils, what's the first thing you're going to hear them say? They're going to tell you that fossils are a creation of the devil and they were put into the ground to deceive mankind. That's what they're going to tell you. Now, another way that falls into the discrediting. And when you want to talk avoidance, and I've actually seen this too. Go into a religious person's house and you sit down to watch TV. You pick up the remote and say they've got a satellite or cable, whatever. You pick up the remote, you start flipping through the channels trying to find something to watch. You may well find, as I did, every single channel that has to do with either science or history is blocked. Now, the fact that it deals with contradictions is why I wanted you to notice the contradictions between Dr. Sheldrake's dogmas that we discussed in the last segment and the things that we discussed in the previous video about the similarities between science and religion. And not just that, but also between the dogmas and what's going on in modern science right now, because cognitive dissonance is happening in science too. And it's happening on several levels. On one level, that level of cognitive dissonance seems to be dealt with the changing of views. We now, where Dr. Sheldrake was talking about sciences that where nature is material, it's unconscious, there's no design, the mind is in the head, all that stuff. Well, now we have quantum mind theory, and we have we have quantum mind theory, and we have simulation theory, or not theories, but they're hypotheses. Quantum mind hypothesis and simulation hypothesis. Where the quantum mind hypothesis, as we've discussed, is a group of hypotheses that say that consciousness is a function of the universe that is imparted to living beings through quantum mechanics, and the simulation hypothesis is being said that it was around now that says that we are all living in a gigantic big computer simulation. Now, here's the thing, that's one level. But on the other level, those same scientists are not likely to agree with you, or agree with what I said in the last video, that quantum mind hypothesis equates to a soul, or to recognize the fact that the simulation hypothesis requires creators of that simulation, and that those beings, by definition, would be called gods. You're not going to hear them called that. Nor are you going to be hearing things about, acknowledging that all these modern scientific theories are lining up with, as we just finished talking about in the last video, all these ancient religious beliefs and practices. But it is happening, and nowhere will you see it more than in the subjects of the paranormal. And this is because as they will tell you when why they're skeptical. This is what they'll say. That extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. Well, that's all fine and good, except their cognitive dissonance won't allow any amount of evidence to be sufficient to convince them. Okay, this is especially true with the UAPs, or unidentified aerial phenomena, also known as UFOs. Now, we have videos like this one right here. This one shows the gimbal video that was recorded by the U.S. Navy and declassified along with several other ones. And this video was confirmed by the United States government to be real. It has been analyzed by every imaginable expert. And they tell us that the footage is real. The objects in the footage are doing things that we cannot explain. It is not an equipment glitch. It is not a video glitch. It is not fake in any way whatsoever. And yet, even after this, we have people like this man right here, Neil deGrasse Tyson, telling us that he doesn't know what UAPs are, but that the aliens would be dead last on his list. Oh, especially if, he said he would buy a video glitch over aliens. Now, that's cognitive dissonance because it's completely disregarding the evidence. This is extraordinary evidence, and he's trying to discredit it. And that's what cognitive dissonance makes us do. Okay, next up, some final thoughts. Before I deliver a few final thoughts to close out this series, I want to issue some formal invitations. First, to the 4 scientists who are mentioned and referenced in some way throughout the course of this 4-part series. Well, the original video, Has Science Become the Religion of the 21st Century, and the 3 videos of this follow-up series, Science is Religion, A Closer Look. Dr. Anthony Fauci, Dr. Neil deGrasse Tyson, Dr. Michelle Thaler, and Dr. Rupert Sheldrake to watch my video and respond. I also want to invite my 2 favorite science YouTubers, Anton Petrov and Dr. Becky, to watch the videos of this series and react to what I have to say. And finally, I want to invite you to hit that subscribe button. As I've already said in another video, my birthday is coming up July 26th. I'm about to be 49 years old. And right now, my subscriber count is at 39. If I get up from 39 to at least 50 subscribers in the next 2 or 3 days, then on the 26th, I will do my very first YouTube live stream right here on this channel to celebrate, and I will answer your questions. So please hit that button and subscribe. Okay, now, closing out this series, let me say first of all that if the viewer statistics for all 4 of the Science is Religion videos are any indication, then cognitive dissonance as a result of dogma is just as prevalent here on YouTube as it is anywhere else. People, I understand, do not like having their beliefs and their life's work questioned. Some of them may feel personally attacked, but that's not what I've been doing here. My aims with this video series are to just let you know that those comparisons are there and they are legit and valid. I want to open people's minds to the fact that science and religion are not mutually exclusive. And that if we do a dialogue with each other, not just between scientific people and religious people, but between science people and just the general public, then we will learn a whole lot more about the world we live in and the universe at large. Because I personally do not believe that science and religion are mutually exclusive. And I think that science should be for everyone. You should not have to have a degree to participate in the discussion or to do your own research on something. But you need to understand that, I'm sure we all understand, in fact, that not every source is out there. So do your own research on things. But be careful what you look at and be sure you're discerning the good stuff from the bad, because not everything out there is a reliable source. And I think also that scientists, modern scientists, should take a closer look at the ancient texts to see what else they can learn, because it is so clear that when you look at ancient beliefs and modern scientific thought, there's so much lining up with each other that you should be curious as to what else the ancients may have known. Okay, guys, that's about it for this video and this series. Once again, hit that subscribe button, and I hope to see you next time for the next video. So until next time, guys, peace.